3704.
Now,
Okay.
Medtrex with beer.
As you see, chug.
Beer. Does a body good.
All right, what's going on, my fine friends? Welcome back to our road to a 405 overhead press. We're on this most fatigued day of the week. Feeling a little run down, but the mind's in a good space. I just want to keep pushing. That's always a good, like, I just am kind of addicted to those little, as long as I'm getting my plus ones, like I'm a little bit better than last week, it's easy to justify pushing myself when I feel this run down. If anything, I can get almost a little too locked into that, like, make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. And I really start trying to get rid of my rest days. But those are there for a reason because I know they bolster a better result. And I'm not going to be a dickhead. I'm going to leave those alone. That's a conclusion I came to a while ago. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The central tenet of self-programming. We're going to work up to, I want to say our top set is 270 pounds plus whatever these bands weigh. For our top set, we got our one set of bench pressing. And then we have triceps and grip / forearm. So kind of, I say it every week, feel like a broken record. This is my Swiss Army knife day. This is where events go when I'm prepping for a show. A couple of you guys asked me what I was going to do with my body weight for this road to 405. And I was telling everybody for a while now, I've been saying, I weigh, let's say 259, 260 morning weight. I'm quite confident it'll take slightly longer, right? People talk about, oh, can you do it without bulking? Well, yeah, it just takes longer, right? People are like, should I be bulking right now? And it's like, I don't mind for people who are interested in strength, if they're at like a decent body fat percentage, I don't mind periods of maintenance. People get on me about that all the time. They're like, wouldn't it be better to be bulking and cutting? And it's like, well, yes, that's probably the fastest way to change our body composition, and like that's the fastest way to accrue lean tissue is bulk, 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 strip back, bulk, 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 strip back. From a bodybuilding context, but when it comes to a strength training context, I don't mind taking these slightly slower rate of progression. As long as we're seeing our plus ones on motions that aren't new, we're probably gaining lean tissue, so our body composition is gradually improving. In exchange, I'll take that lower, like that slower rate of progression for not having interruptions and small regressions with the intermittent cuts. So oftentimes what I'll do with my own body weight is I'll push up to a new point, hang out there until I like my composition. You know, after I do like a big push for a big lift, I'll do the first 2 to 3 weeks of a cut where it's easy. Weight falls off, my weight shoots down. I'll just do the start of the cut and then I'll maintain and maintain and maintain, try to build up my aerobic base and hit my plus ones. And yes, it's a slower rate, but I like not having those interruptions. The longer time I can spend in that plus one per week zone, that plus 5 pound PR per block zone, the better I'll be. And I build a lot of my training philosophies around spending more time in that zone, right? Rather than, well, I can do this for a little bit for faster progress, but then I'm gonna have to do something to reverse it. That applies to a lot of stuff. I try to avoid that in general and spend longer in that productive training zone. As long as you're not like, it's probably not gonna work. You know, if you're hanging out at 9% body fat and you're like, I'm gonna hang out here for longer, probably not the best course of action. If you're a fat fuck like myself, probably works all right. So I was like, oh yeah, I think I could do, I don't mind I like my body weight right now. I feel quite comfortable. And I feel like I could do 405 at my current body weight. I really think that I can do that. And I wanted to do that because it would make me one of the lighter people to have done it. Not that that matters, not the lightest. It's not a competition lift. If it was a contested lift like it used to be in weightlifting, we'd see a lot more people doing it. I understand that, but it was still like a little feather in my cap. But I just saw the events for the show, the bigger show that I'm doing next year, the Rainier, and it's gonna be log press and Viking press. Obviously, they're gonna be events with leg drive, and I might wanna start working that log soon. And I was like, I could kind of work them concurrently, or I could push the body weight up a little bit and try to speed up this road to 405, get that done, and then switch over to, rather than doing a mid job with my strict press training and a mid job with my log press training, try to get one done, then really focus on the other. I might push up the body weight to speed up that timeline. We will see. That's something I'm debating. I feel really good right now, and I'm not keen to get back to that point of like chronic overeating, bulked to where I can't think straight, because that ability to think straight helps me train a lot more effectively. So that's something I've been juggling. I'm sure I can imagine comments saying like, well, Sam, you know, why can't you just train for log press with leg drive and strict press at the same time? I always get a comment, it's like, well, doesn't strict press help? And it's like, yes, it helps. Yes, you can get better. I'm at the point where I have a needlessly high strict press and needlessly high bench press. So the most effective route forward to improving my overhead with leg drive is to do overhead with leg drive more often, right? That's not to say for you that you couldn't have one day where it's overhead with leg drive and one day strict. That's a great program, especially early on in a training career, to try to put equal emphasis on the two, like early on to like develop the upper body. I think that's a great routine. I'm not telling you not to do it. And I'm not saying that strict press would get in the way necessarily. I could do it right now, but I would accept a slower rate of progression there. So that's just something I don't have a conclusion. Don't hold me to any of this. I might not bulk because everything's going so well right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it is something I'm considering, right? Because I'm 260, 259 right now. For the other strength challenges we've done on the channel, I bulked up to like 270-ish morning weight for the deadlift and for the bench press roundabouts. That's the heaviest I've gotten so far. I think if I got back up to that 270, I could definitely do the 405 quite a bit faster. I'm a bit stronger at 270, but my work capacity is lower. So my ability to like do all the stuff I need to in a training week is actually slightly worse. But I am, when it comes down to one rep stuff, stronger. So we might take a foray back into that eventually, right? Like first time I got to 260, that was my heavy, shitty weight. Now I feel great. You know, I can do loads of stuff, right? Like I could do a bunch of like basic calisthenics. I could do like 15 to 20 pull-ups, probably erring on the side of the 15 if we're holding me strict on the form. I can do the handstand push-ups. Like there's lots of stuff I can do at 260. I can jog, I can sprint, I can jump real high. So hopefully sooner or later, I'll get the best of both worlds where 270 becomes my comfortable weight and like maybe 280 would be that weight I tolerate. All right, let's go. We're back for the old voiceover here. So upon watching that back, I feel the need to clarify. No, that is not me weighing in on this whole bulking is dead thing. Although now that I think about it, I'll probably make that the title. I have felt no need to weigh in on that whatsoever because I think it's not really even an argument. It's just a weird pedantic discussion of don't bulk. That's a waste of time. Just do a 200 calorie over maintenance. That's bulking. Since I started, most of the smart people I've ever heard weren't recommending 1,000 calorie surpluses, and most of the smart people I ever heard coming up back in the day when I was getting into this were also not advocating for bulking to 30% body fat, right? And it's like, oh, that's not bulking. It's not a surplus because actually protein synthesis is part of your body's overall metabolic processes. You're gaining weight. It's a surplus functionally. That's a weird pedantic argument to make. If your body weight is climbing with time due to your caloric intake, you're in a surplus. All right. Ooh, I'm more tired, more fatigued than I thought. Sorry for the bad audio. Didn't plug in the mic because I'm going to be doing the voiceover. But you have to deal with the echo. More tired than I thought. You know, when you go to pull that like switch in your mind to get your adrenaline up and nothing happens. Nothing fires. It's one of those days. I got some tendonitis in my biceps from squats yesterday. Just how she goes. Getting better and better. Doing a bunch of correctional work to kind of build up my resilience to that back squat position. It's going good, but feeling them today. But I find myself every rest day wishing I could train, wishing I had the opportunity to take a small personal victory, like push myself. The goal is just to push myself. That manifests as trying to get my plus ones or the sets that I know would be a good result. But sometimes if I pushed myself, but that didn't happen, I don't beat myself up over it anymore. I just take it down as data. Maybe something's wrong with the programming more often than not. If we don't secure that incremental improvement, it was something I fucked up in my preparation, whether that was my hydration, my sleep, my nutrition, my active recovery. And so I'm like, okay, duly noted. I succeeded. I pushed myself today to how far I was supposed to push myself. So the personal victory is still there, but feedback loop, there's some other shit I got to do to make sure it's getting the result I want. I came in even dead tired. I should be able to get this for 4. That's kind of what I came in expecting here. And I find myself kicking myself like, man, I should push a little harder that last day. Every time I have a rest day, I want that opportunity. I really, really want that opportunity for a small personal win, a small incremental improvement, knowing I'm better at something than I was last week. So no matter how tired I am today, I am not going to let myself down and waste this opportunity to push myself, this opportunity to have a little personal win. It matters a lot to me, and I owe it to me tomorrow to not be a complete pussy. So we're gonna try to get fired up and get that adrenaline to come up whether it wants to or not, and put in a decent set here. Come on. Whoosh! Okay, back from my top set, my little self-aggrandizing bullshit speech there. Yeah, I don't know. It's not me weighing in on what's best practice for bodybuilding. It is more like a practical guideline that I often find myself advocating for to my athletes, not because it yields a faster average rate of tissue gain, but because it lets us spend more time kind of in the pocket, in that realm of productive training. Strength training is a very time-dependent thing. Hypertrophy training is a very time-dependent thing. And so we want to spend really long periods of time in that productive building zone. And you need to have a pretty good reason for deloading every 4th week and missing a quarter of the year effective training. If you need it, and that's fine. But if you don't need it, that's wasted time. Much the same, it takes a lot for me to justify periods away from just gradual, sustainable progress. So that's the approach I take. That's all I'm saying with it, really. On to my top set of the feet up bench here. 390, I think I did 9. Decent set, still building these up. Like I said, I've got some baselines that I'm curious when I get to them, where I could take my bench to. Also, I hear you guys with putting the weights on the screen. I will do so once I think the sets are impressive. If you look back at my past videos, it is something I do. I'm just being a little lazy potentially. All right, apologies, it's a little dim over here. My light bulb just went out for whatever reason. Just last week, I was shilling to you guys about my love for, I guess, the benefits of like something like this, where people are like, oh man, I just feel my abs. That's awesome. I think, especially when we got strength goals, I'm not saying you have to be pure strength goals. You don't have to be a strength only guy like me. Most people out there have some blend of wanting to look a certain way and wanting to perform a certain way. And when you have strength goals, I think things that like, yeah, there is a meaningful like anti-extension component. You're having to like, as you get stronger on these, you have to hold almost a plank-like tension. And from a pure bodybuilding perspective, that's a rate limiter that you might want to remove. And I get that. But most people fall somewhere in that in-between point. And sometimes there's a real time and a place for those extra kind of force vectors. It's like you get that kind of anti-extension. You get your dumbbell rows, that anti-rotation. You do like, you hold one dumbbell on your split squats. That's anti-lateral flexion. And all of those progressive in your training, because you should be overloading those accessories, that progressive tension in your training all running through your midsection makes for a lot sturdier midsection. Each of those things individually, sure, it's not the best thing, but they all add up to a pretty robust training adaptation. I'm eating my words this week, though. I stand by that. But yesterday, even though it's my big week of the 3-week wave, I did more sets of ab wheel than I normally do because I didn't really like my form on my work set. So I did 2 more to correct it. That was stupid. That was dumb because, it was ab wheel with 100 pounds in a backpack. And I did 2 extra sets, more than I usually do. And I was struggling to roll over and get up from the bed this morning. Holy fuck, my abs are sore. Getting off the bench was a pain. And I was doing my warm-up sets here on the press downs. And I was like, good oogly moogly. Holy fuck, this hurts. So we're going to do 1 set instead of 2, especially because I'm trying to rest this bicep tendonitis a little bit. Try to get over that kind of quick. 9 would be our +1. I think I can just deal with the discomfort in my biceps and my abs, and I can make that happen. Would missing a week of these be a big deal? No, but I think I've built a lot off of the mindset of like, yeah, 1 missed week matters. I won't go a week without missing my grip. I won't go a session without missing at least doing my triceps. And I've done that to a fault, but it's gotten me this far. So we're doing this shit. We're gonna do 1 of these and 1 of the overhead extensions. Shout out to my friend Andrew, who's gonna make me a custom little he welds stuff together. He made, I'll show you guys. It's cool. He welded me together this giant loadable circus dumbbell. Pretty cool. He's also going to make me 2 different sizes of gym pins so I can go heavier on my rows and my pull downs than the 300-pound stack allows. But more importantly, so I can go heavier on this cable machine for triceps. So that'll be cool because I want to keep overloading. The rope triceps have been feeling real good. Don't want to get away from those. All right. Do 9, you pussy. Oh my fuck. All right, warming up on the overhead tricep. Kind of trying to feel out real quick if I like the shorter tricep rope or the longer tricep rope, which I get a better feel for. Doesn't really matter. I can continue my standard progression and look for my +1 regardless of what grip I select. And my plan is I maxed out the stack for like a bajillion reps. That's something like back when I was in college and I got my first 405 bench. I kind of got to the point where like most standard cable machines, I would have to tack a lot of weight on there. And most gyms don't like that because that's not what the cable's rated for, even though it probably is. I get it, totally fine. Their gym, their rules. So I moved to doing a lot of like single arm work when I wanted to do press downs, or you can go to a lat pull down where it's a 1-to-1 cable machine. And it's humbling. I've got a bunch of guys, I've got a couple of guys I coach that have benched like 500. And they were like, oh yeah, Sam, like I'm tacking a bunch of extra plates on there for my press downs. I love the exercise, I don't want to get away from it. And I was like, hey, go try them on the lat pull down tower. And they were like, holy fuck, I'm getting bodied by like 120 pounds. It's like, yeah, it's very different. So that's kind of opened up a new avenue to push those for a while. I don't think it'll take me too long to get to the point, because I've gotten to this point in the past when I've pushed them really hard, where my body weight is picking up off the ground. And you would have to use the old Dorian Yates solution of putting some weights on a weight belt to weigh you down. I hate setting that up. So what I'm hoping is Bolt Fitness will finally respond to my email and get me that goddamn smooth machine that I bought by the time I outgrow those. Because with a standardized touch point, the way I do those press downs is mechanically pretty similar to a Smith JM press. I could do a regular JM press, but I like Smith JM press. So the plan will be by the time we outgrow those, hopefully, we'll be able to switch straight over kind of 1-to-1 and pick up where we left off with a Smith JM press. Because when I push those elbows back and out, I'm not doing a rolling tricep where we get a little bit more length at the long head. I look to get my long head work more from overhead stuff. So I push those elbows back, and it's not a press in terms of we're stacking over and getting the lower pecs and the shoulders into it. We still want to keep it an extension, but it's a lot more like a JM press in nature than it is like a rolling tricep extension, like what a lot of people do. So it should be a smooth transition if I ever get one. All right, phone is almost dead. So same thing as last week on the same session. But that's where we'll end the video for the day. If you liked it, please leave a like, leave a comment. We're on the road to 10K, and it's going pretty good. My goal is not just to hit the 10K, but to not do what I've seen a bunch of people. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, same as probably most of you. You see guys go like, they go hard up to a milestone and then they're really burnt out. I don't think I'm doing anything too far past what I could sustain. Like I probably won't be uploading quite as often once we get to 10K, but I'm not gonna fall off a cliff. That's my goal, at least. Just because I've kind of foreseen that. Just being like, it's all coming down to this one thing. It's the same thing, people who derive their training motivation from all for one goal. And as soon as they get that goal, they fall off a cliff. It's like if we could be a little bit more process oriented and like training for the sake of training, we can hit that goal and keep going, right? It's ideal. So appreciate you guys' support. You guys have been wonderful, leaving comments, leaving a bunch of likes. It's been wicked helpful in speeding up the rate we get through this final kind of 1,000. I think we got like 500 to go. So things are going real smooth. Not to keep it a secret from you, it's not some top secret grip routine. We're doing same things last week, behind the back holds with fat grips, something we're taking that thumb away from the center line and kind of isolating that thumb away from the hand to really develop that ability to crush the thumb into the outside of the fingers, which is just a component of grip that I wasn't getting very much out of. Like I was like similarly strong thumbless and with my thumb. Vice versa, if you are wicked weak on thumbless grip, maybe take the thumb away and isolate more holding this position when you're trying to build that like grip strength. And then we also do the wrist roller back and forward, just basic overload. I count 1, 1, and just get to 30 reps. You could go all the way up, then down like 3 times. It doesn't matter. People ask me all the time, like how I track the roller. You track reps. You could track time if you wanted to. You could track how many times we go all the way up. It doesn't matter. Just pick something and look for improvement with time. First 2 is for grip. Second 2 is more for actual like hypertrophy of the forearm. Looking to try to get my wrists a little bit more resilient because they get banged up when I do a lot of like heavy overhead with leg drive. So that's what we're doing. I appreciate you boys as always.